Hey y'all, Farmer Jesse here. I promised a farm tour in August. It is still technically August. So yeah, let's do it. Alright, so it's been a good August. Been fairly cool, not crazy hot. It was hot last week, but it hasn't been that hot. It hasn't been that hot, wasn't that hot in July. Hasn't been that bad. So, you know, June and May were rough, but July and August were okay. Yeah, let's start over here, what I've got going on. This is the future garlic patch. Essentially what I had this, you'll remember from a previous video on something or other, where I talk about kind of having a spotty cover crop here. So what I did was I had the cover crop, and then I had the sheep come in and eat it instead of mowing it. Which is, it uses up some of that carbonaceous material, but I was using buckwheat and Sudan grass, which aren't really high carbon anyway, so they're not going to add a lot of organic matter anyway. What I wanted was the manure, and I wanted the cover, and I wanted the photosynthesis going on. So I had that to cover crop, and then I had the sheep come in and mow it, and then I mowed it down. I mowed all the stalks down, so that's why it's kind of, it doesn't look like there's anything there. And then now I'm putting down our beds for the garlic. So these will be permanent. This is officially going to be a no-till system here. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm using a ton of compost, but you know, that's kind of how you set it up. I figure to set up a garden in this system, I need about 1 yard per bed, per 100-foot, 30-inch bed. So it's a lot. Anyway, that's what's going on there. I've got to work on that a little bit today, try and get that done, because I have a million other things I need to be working on. Squash patch is doing really well. Pumpkins are pretty much done. I've been cutting them off about once a week. Just what's done, I've cut off, and I let it sun cure for a week, and then I come and pick those up and I cut the next round. So they're doing pretty well. You can see some of these little guys here. The Jester, that is an awesome squash. That has just been, for the last few years, it's been our best producer. It's a bush habit, so it doesn't vine out like into your road like these pumpkins do. And then I've also got some really good butternuts in there and some other things. I'm not sure what happened here, but something got tangled in the net. And I don't think it's a sheep. This is their next paddock right here. They're coming into this one. There should be a fence right here, and it is right there, across the road. So something, a deer, something got tangled in it. Yeah, it's all, it's strewn everywhere. So a deer, a dog, something got caught in it, but it's not electrified. So luckily, I mean, that could really, that's really no good when that happens. Let's go see those sheep. On their way over, I can talk about the sweet potato patch is doing pretty well. I've got some grass in there I need to go pick out. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. The parsnips are really grassy. I kind of lost control of those guys a long time ago, because that is a crop that is in the ground from, I think I planted that in February. So it's in the ground from February until December, which means a lot of weeding. It's not a total loss, I don't think, but it definitely got away from me. Where are those cheapies at? Make sure they're still all in here. There they are. I think they're all in there. The fence looks okay around them, so I think we're good. But they're doing pretty good. We're, you know, I'm still trying to figure out how to make them profitable. One thing I'd love to do is, if anybody has any advice on this, I'll take it. I want to do a dried sausage, like a salami type sausage. I don't know, something cool, like a I don't know, some sort of dried cured sausage. I think that would be really awesome value add. So anyway, I shouldn't talk about this around them. That's probably not very polite. Sorry, sheepies. I'm being stalked per usual. Hi, Scoot, dude. Gardens are doing pretty well. We're kind of in that transition period. We've got, you know, some fall stuff, some fall brassicas and stuff going in here. I've got some beets and stuff right here. There's spinach planted there. Oh, we gotta talk about that, because this is the spinach that I direct seeded, and then we had some really intense hot days, but we're still getting, I mean, it's still coming up. I'll post a link to the video that I kind of talked about the spinach in. It was in the no-till bed flipping video. So as you can see here. It's coming up pretty well. It's still popping up. Like I said, it got a little bit hot. And this is one thing, like an okay stand. We'll just see. I mean, probably another week before I'll be able to really tell what kind of stand it is. It's a bunching spinach, so I'm not super worried about it being, it's not a baby spinach. But I do want a fair amount. I want a good yield, so we'll just see. I don't know. I think part of that is really the heat. Direct seeding crops that like cooler germination temperatures into black composted beds, still not perfect. I'm working on that though. I have ideas. Yeah, this is all doing pretty well here. Lettuce, been great. This is collard greens mixed in with some of the collards that died. I actually put in some kale, so that's why it looks funny there. Red Russian kale with that line of green onions planted. Carrots look really good. Ginger's about to come out this month, I think. Still got a little bit of lettuce right here that I've been cutting off of that was next to the corn. Chard's kind of bouncing back. I talked about that in the last video. Celery's coming along nicely. These beets look eh. But this kale right here, that's Everbed. Everbed's doing pretty well. Let's look over here. This stuff is all rocking. Lettuce looks good. Lettuce looks good. About to plant the latter half of that bed. Broccoli looks pretty good. Brussels look pretty good. I lost a few. Those are replacements. There's a few that have been skeletized by moths because I didn't get to BT them in time, and we did use a little bit of BT this year. I'm hoping to get away from that. BT is just Bacillus thuringiensis. It's a biological pesticide. It's essentially a bacteria that explodes the guts of worms. So it's useful for us. I don't love using it, so I'd rather use insect netting or nothing. So I need to get the right insect netting because I don't like ours. It keeps it too hot. Cabbage looks pretty good. These carrots are still coming up. These carrots look pretty good. Okra's coming out this weekend. I'm going to mow that down and cover it because here's where the caterpillar tunnel's going. I've got some beets planted in here. Those are the last of those carrots going to market this weekend. Cauliflower there. This stuff looks great. This is all the Napa cabbage right here. This is 2 beds of Napa cabbage. That's a lot. And I actually planted them at more like 14 inches instead of my usual 12 because I like the small heads. So they're going to be bigger heads. Some radicchio. There's some random greens there. This is all undercover is all turnips and radishes and some other brassicas and some delicious things. This mess here is that's all cover crop. Buckwheat in particular. This is the last of our peppers. This tomato thing needs to come out. Yeah, this isn't pretty. Our tomatoes blighted out, our field tomatoes, and then our tunnel tomatoes are coming out next week. I regret not doing a late tomato plant. I did a late tomato planting, but like I think I talked about it in one of my other farm tour videos, that I planted those by the other tomatoes and they just blighted out too. So that was my fault, and it's kind of an ironic fault because I did a whole article for Growing for Market this past spring, winter, about blight and how to avoid early blight, and I completely walked right into early blight this year. I just got overwhelmed and yeah, I made some bad decisions. So, lesson learned. Like I said, tomatoes are kind of coming out this weekend, maybe next week. I really want to clean that up because this whole caterpillar tunnel is going to be Brussels sprouts. I've got another caterpillar tunnel coming up next week. I have it, I just have to make it. And yeah, this is all flipping. This is all beets, all that's going to come out this week, and then flip that into kale. I think that entire thing is going to be kale, although I may have a little bit of room to do some radishes and that sort of stuff. Yeah, these are the cherries. They're pretty well done, and you can see they've got some blight on them, and I don't know if you can see that. They've got some blight. They need to come out of here. The fennel did really well. Some of it's starting to bolt, but we have had some crazy fennel. Summer fennel. We've had like 40 of those that just look beautiful, and we've been taking them to market and they've been selling really well, which we're kind of surprised by. If you're ever wondering what the noise is, that is a giant highway. We live up against the highway, yeah. So, you know, it's part of finding land is sometimes you have to make some sacrifices, and one of ours was we have to live next to a highway, but then we have the most beautiful view on this side. So, whatever, you know, it's like urban farming, but not. Have I ever shown you guys the worst plot in our garden? This is a surprisingly bad plot. Okay, so you see where the Napa cabbage are? Napa cabbage look great. This is a really, really nice spot. This is European buckwheat, if you're wondering why it looks so funny. It's this really crazy small seed, and I get enormous yield on it. And it's it has the craziest flower, but you know, pollinators love it. So this section here has almost no topsoil, and it stays super wet. I had to make the decision this year, do we deal with it? Do we just like throw it into like a regular no-till system like the rest of our beds? Or do we just take it out of production? Because it's pretty bad. I mean, it's got huge rocks in it. It doesn't drain for worth a damn. And yeah, I mean, and it's gonna take a lot of work. So naturally I decided I'm just gonna work on it. Anyway, here's some more cover crop stuff. This is Sudan grass. I mowed this, so it looked like that 2 weeks ago. And now it's starting to regrow, and that's the beauty of Sudan grass, is that you can get a second growth out of it. So I'm not expecting a bunch of carbon from this, but I'm experimenting a little bit. This is all gonna be strawberries, I think, next year. Strawberries and flowers. So I have that mowed, and then it grows back up, and then I'm gonna mow it again, and then I'm gonna cover all this. So I'm gonna let all this grow back up a little bit, and then I'm gonna cover it. And I may actually, instead of mowing it a second time, I may actually let the sheep graze it so I can get some manure in there. So yeah, you can see even on this spot, on this plot, it's a little bit skimpy, even on the cover crop. So, you know, I can fix that, and I think I'm gonna try. Another farm tour in October-ish, but for now, if you like this video, please like this video. Also make sure to subscribe. A little bobble will pop up with a hand on my face. You can click on that, it's cool, doesn't hurt anybody. No faces are harmed in the clicking. Let me know if you have any questions about what we've got going on here. I know that's a lot, and I know I kind of just said this is this and this and this. So, if you want to know anything about those thises, let me know. Other than that, you guys, I'm gonna get back to work. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Hey, window.